All right, this is GamingIllustrated.com at the end of day 2 of E3 2013 from the Los Angeles Convention Center. Let's recap both days so far. We'll start with today because it's fresh in our minds. I was at the EA booth. Ryan was with me. We saw a lot of amazing things from EA Sports. Ryan, what really stood out from you?
Well, the Ignite engine was huge. FIFA 14 was pretty much playable here, almost a full build. We played a full game almost, and it was really amazing. I didn't think that it would make a huge difference, the Ignite engine, but you can really feel the difference. And when I went up to play the current gen games, they just did not feel the same. It was amazing.
It's going to be really hard for sports gamers to figure this year out because we have a lot of these games coming out in August, September, and then we're going to see them re-release when the new consoles come out in November. So it's going to be really strange to see what consumers do. Do they buy the existing games and then flip them for the newer versions, or do they just wait? I think we'll see, but I know with FIFA 14, you're going to want to play it on the next-gen consoles. It stood out. It was amazing how much that game had evolved. Also, we saw a little bit of NBA Live 14. It looks like they've got a lot to do.
Yeah, I'm still skeptical about NBA Live 14. I guess we have to wait and see what's going to be their approach. We didn't really see much, just some dribbling, the bounce tech, and it does seem interesting, but they have a lot of work to do.
I played NHL 14, and the shocking news for me there was that NHL 14 will not be on the Xbox One or PS4. There will not be next-gen NHL action. Shocking news, but they are focused on a really good product for PS3 and Xbox 360. So from that perspective, it was an interesting demo. But I thought Madden 25, again, same thing as FIFA, spoils the current generation. You're going to want to play it on the next-gen systems because it played so much better. I thought Madden 25 looked eerily similar to Madden 13 on current generation, and on next-gen, it seemed like a good leap forward for the game.
Yeah, we got to run a few plays on Madden 25, and it felt amazing. It felt really smooth, really crisp. Then I went upstairs and played some Madden 25 on current gen, and it did not feel the same. It's just basically Madden 13 again. So it is going to be a huge decision for players that are going to plan on purchasing the next-gen consoles. Are they going to buy the current version and the next-gen version of the game, or are they going to wait? It's going to be interesting to see.
So we also saw Need for Speed Rivals that looked pretty interesting. Kind of going back a little bit with the story. We could play both as the racer or as the cop, as well as some decent racing action. I thought it was all right. We were going to see Titanfall. That was just a hugely popular game here. But let's move forward from EA. Ben Sheen is here with me. He and I saw The Witcher 3. It was a game that you and I have been playing throughout its history, the Witcher series, and we were really interested to see how far they've gotten with Witcher 3. I was blown away by how good and polished that game looked for something they are touting as something as pre-alpha.
Yes, I agree. I mean, I think one of the biggest moments was when they showed different changes in weather, the day and night cycle. You just sit there and watch it go, and clouds, rain, the whole world is affected, and it really feels like it's a living, breathing world instead of just like a static lighting system. And yeah, I gotta admit, the pre-alpha, I don't know, that blows my mind.
I think action RPG fans are going to be blown away by what they see out of The Witcher in 2013. It's not going to release till 2014, but for Xbox One, for PS4, and for PC gamers, it's going to be on your must-have list if you enjoy RPG games. We'll move over to Calvin. What did you see today, really, that kind of blew you away with some of your booth tours?
I saw Transistor over at the Sony We Love Dev booth. I got to talk to Greg Kasivin for a little bit. The game looks really clean. It's going to be one of the best indies probably next year, out early 2014 for PlayStation 4 and PC.
And I know you've definitely been talking with a lot of the indie developers. We have a lot of indie gamers that enjoy seeing what's next and how the next-gen platform is really going to help them take those indie games to the next level. What should indie gaming fans really be clued into at this point?
It's just going to be a much smoother experience. The graphics are going to be a little better. It's going to run a lot smoother. They're going to be able to do a lot more things. I also played Secret Ponchos from Switchblade Monkeys. Is another one of those titles. It's a 4-player co-op game where you are gunslingers and a really cool stylized art style. I liked it a lot. I talked to one of the guys. They seem really positive about it. It's going to be available day one for PS Plus. I recommend checking it out. It's worth it for free, but especially when it comes out at $15.99 or $14.99 when it's available after.
Another appointment Ryan and I had was with Warner Brothers. We saw 3 different titles. I'll start out by saying I thought Batman looked good. It looked like another Batman game. Arkham Origins goes back in time in the timeline. All the bad guys are there, and it's open world. That's really what they're touting with Batman Origins. I would say it doesn't necessarily look next gen. It plays current gen, but it will be available on the platforms. Anything to add on that one?
Pretty much the same thing. It just felt like another Batman game. Didn't really feel innovative or anything like that. It's just Batman, more Batman.
That may not necessarily be a bad thing for fans. It's just that's what it is.
Well, definitely, I would agree with that. And being able to play again, having Joker as the villain again, I think that's going to be huge for fans as well.
We saw 2 other games. We saw Mad Max and Dying Light. What were your impressions of those 2 games?
I was really interested in Mad Max because I'm a big fan of the movie franchise, and the driving combat it seems like a really big world to drive around in. That's going to be a huge part of the game, so it's going to be really interesting to me. It doesn't seem like it seems like a mindless kind of game. You're not going to be, it's not going to have a deep storyline or anything like that, but it seems like fun, good action.
And Dying Light?
Dying Light, to me, it seemed like a combination of Mirror's Edge and Dead Island, kind of.
Dead Mirror?
Yes, some Dead Edge. I don't know what you would call it, but it was kind of interesting. You have those free running elements. That's going to be something that really other zombie games don't have. But again, it's another zombie game. How many of these can you possibly have?
All right, so let's go back to Ben. What else did you see from today's show that really stood out in your mind?
Well, one of the games I was looking forward to the most was Lords of the Fallen from City Interactive. Before anything was shown, before much was said, the combat was compared to Dark Souls. I would say it seems a lot like that, but they focus more on one-on-one combat with harder enemies. They talked a lot about how they want to make it like Tekken, which is interesting for an action RPG. They talked a lot about the story, how they're going to throw a lot of secrets in there that might take months and months for the community to discover. The game was pre-alpha based on what they told us, and it already looks stunning. Great lighting, good environmental design, sort of akin to Dark Souls. Another game that I saw that I was interested in was Bound by Flame, and that's from Spiders. Anyone who played Mars Warlogs recently would recognize the name. It's basically another sort of fantasy RPG, deep customization, interesting monster design. They're an up-and-coming studio, small time, but I think they have a lot of passion behind what they do, and I was fascinated by it.
All right, great. So let's go back to day 1. I started things off at the Nintendo Wii U experience, saw some of the games that are coming out. I could say that as someone who's not necessarily a Nintendo fan, I was blown away by all the great titles that are coming out. I think Wii U fans are finally going to be, they're going to be justified in their purchase. I know you're a big Nintendo guy. Mario Kart 8 looked great. Bayonetta 2 looked great. Super Mario 3D World looked great. So it was an exciting time for Nintendo to finally be unveiling games that felt like this is why I want to buy a Wii U. I know some of you have also seen that kind of stuff, but let's move forward a little bit to Activision. We saw some really great stuff there. We started out with Call of Duty Ghosts. Ben, what were your impressions there with Call of Duty?
Basically, it's more Call of Duty. There's the explosions, there's the big budget stuff, but most of what they showed us was a lot of, like sneaking around. We had a little bit of gameplay with Riley the dog, which looked, interesting for what it was. But it'd be interesting if this was a Call of Duty game that was focused more on stealth than anything. I would actually be impressed if that was the direction they took.
And one of the biggest titles here at E3 is Destiny. It's coming out in 2014. It looks really good, looks really fun. I think everyone's really excited for it. I'd like to get both of your impressions. So what did you think?
I saw them play the demo instance again. It's the same thing they showed at the press conference for Sony, but you can tell they're playing it because they made a big point today, because everyone's complaining it's the same thing, of doing little things like throwing a grenade, showing bigger shots of old Russia, and just the instance was different. It looks like it's going to play really smoothly. The combat looks interesting. For a guy who's not like myself, who's not into FPSs, this looks like something you'd want to play even if you're not into it, because it's doing something unique.
And Ryan, what were your impressions of Destiny?
Well, the one thing I took away from Destiny really was that Bungie really learned from Halo, and they really took it to another level, it seems like, with Destiny, and they're really going to the next level with this game.
Another game we saw at Activision was Diablo 3 on a console. As a PC person who's played Diablo 3, I thought it was just more of the same. Interesting. It's not going to take me away from my PC. I'm not going to get Diablo 3 on Xbox 360 because I played the game. It handled much the same. But as a console gamer, you thought it was actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun. It felt very natural to the console, so I thought that was really interesting, and it's something that I would definitely be interested in playing when it comes out on console. Even though I've never even played Diablo, so I think they hooked me, and they're going to do that with other console gamers as well.
All right, so Calvin, you had an appointment with Ubisoft. You got to see some of the things I haven't even had a chance to go over, and you're telling me the Division.
Wait.
Tell me why I need to see.
Clancy's The Division.
Tom Clancy's The Division. Why do I need to see it?
Because it's an open world, persistent world, online RPG that has tactical combat, and you can play with other friends online on console, but also people who have tablets. So your buddy who's on the bus and he's in a Wi-Fi bus or he's in a hotspot like at McDonald's can just log on, play real time with you, and use that drone to augment your skills and make your game a lot better, more interesting, and more dynamic.
Ubi's got some really good titles here. Definitely making some noise. Watch Dogs, another one that I think everyone has their eyes clued in on.
Watch Dogs is amazing. We didn't get a chance to check out the footage they were showing, but from what they've shown at the press conferences, because I saw all of what they've shown, it looks like the gameplay is going to be really dynamic. It's going to do a lot of different things. No dogs, which is unfortunate, but the stealth elements are there. They showed sneaking in a car, which is incredible. You're trying to sneak a police like you're trying to sneak past guards. And just the action and the ability to hack the CTOS is really dynamic and engaging. I think it's going to lead to a lot of interesting gameplay opportunities, and graphically it looks amazing.
All right, so the last thing we saw, which was yesterday in the afternoon, was Bethesda. Ryan and I were there. We saw Elder Scrolls Online as something that nobody had seen before this, as well as Wolfenstein and The Evil Within, actually. We saw 3 games. I got to play Elder Scrolls Online for a good 45 minutes. You did as well. I admitted I'm an Elder Scrolls nerd, definitely an elitist when it comes to those games. When it comes to Skyrim, 150 hours played. So I was really worried it was just going to be, something like Old Republic, just skinned with Elder Scrolls. It did not feel that way. It definitely felt like Elder Scrolls turned into an MMO as opposed to just some MMO turned into an Elder Scrolls game. So it was really interesting. There's still a bit of ways with it, but I think they're headed in the right direction. There were a lot of good Elder Scrolls lore that I think people were going to really enjoy. Evil Within looked gross, which I think is what people were kind of looking for.
I definitely agree. It's definitely bringing back, the horror roots from the Resident Evil franchise. It does look pretty gruesome. Some very interesting sneaking around elements and stuff like that. We don't know what's going on in the game. We can't piece the story together, so it's going to be really interesting. I mean, to me, I kind of want to play the game just to find out what is going on.
All right, so let's recap things by giving our must-haves. What is one thing that you've seen here at E3 that you think most gamers out there should have?
Transistor by Supergiant Games. It just looks amazing. Like, it plays in a unique strategy RPG style with a great story, voice acting, and art style.
I'm going to steal Ben Sheen's thunder and say Witcher 3. Blown away by it. I thought it was awesome. Way ahead of where I thought it should be. So I'll go to Ryan and let you think. Go ahead, Ryan.
I think FIFA 14 for next-gen consoles. I know we're going to talk about some sports here, but yeah, it was amazing. It played amazing, and really, you're going to forget how horrible the current. You're going to think the current gen was horrible all of a sudden when you move up to the Ignite engine.
And just to get a couple brags in, I did take on the producer of NHL 14, and I beat him 5-1 in the second period. He rage quit. Oh, and who won the FIFA 14 match?
Not me.
Exactly. All right, Ben, must-have thing from E3.
Can I give the open world genre? Can that be my favorite thing?
Oh, okay. I want a title.
I'm going to say Destiny. I think I could lean towards the Division, but I think Destiny, based on the way Bungie has spoken about it, how they plan on making it sort of a game that's going to bridge the generations, and it's also going to last, a long time. If they can pull off what the magic they did with Halo, if they can pull off sort of the MMO vibe I think they're going for, with people jumping in all the time, they've got a good game.
All right, we're going to give one last shout out here to the man behind the camera, Chance Asu. Thank you so much. You've done an amazing job here filming this thing. I want you to weigh in right now. I'm going to run up towards the camera. I want your one must-have thing from E3.
Probably the Division. I think that looks the best. I think that the tablet integration with the game and the persistent world works really well, and they actually demoed it live for us, so it's not exactly like a regular canned edited presentation. It was functional, and it looked like it was actually pretty fun. It's probably a reason to actually use a tablet during gaming.
Awesome. All right. So, on behalf of Calvin Martinez, Ben Sheen, Ryan Bloom, Chance Asu, and all of the wonderful writers at Gaming Illustrated who've done an amazing job, we want to thank you for tuning in. Be sure to stay here because we have some breaking news coming from day 3 here, which is Thursday, and then we're going to have some amazing exclusive interviews that we've been getting from the show floor starting Friday and on through next week. You're going to see some exclusive you're not going to see anywhere else. So make sure you like Gaming Illustrated here on YouTube. Make sure you bookmark our site and keep coming back. We've got some amazing stuff for you. Thanks for tuning in.